guys, and welcome to another show of hashtag. Let's welcome my friend Zell.
Hi.
So today our subject is me going to Houston and the guy who never showed. Can you believe that?
It's crazy.
It's an experience that happened to me in my life, and it's been a while, and now I just think that I'm ready to talk about it. I mean, you've heard about this story about me going to Houston for this guy that I was so madly supposedly in love with, and then he basically never showed up to the trip. So basically we're going to talk about that today. And basically today we're talking about hashtag going to Houston and the guy who never showed up.
Hashtag the guy who never showed up.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So how would you feel if you basically went somewhere and a guy never showed up to where you were supposed to go because I was hurt?
I would be mad. I would be upset. Because that's your time, that's your energy, your money, and it's all for nothing.
Okay, so first I'm going to tell you about this guy. Now, I'm not going to sit up here and lie just because things didn't work out. This guy was really handsome. He was like 6 feet, 6'1", dark-skinned, chocolate, from Texas. Definitely southern boy, nice accent, nice body physique, and yeah, he had a job and stuff. So basically we met online and we decided to start hanging out, and we both were cancers and we just clicked. So something happened. He was in Beverly Hills. I was working in Beverly Hills, so it was perfect. And then something happened with his living situation to where he ended up moving kind of closer to me with a friend. So at this point I was living by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I did have the choice to be okay, he can move in with me or whatever. But I just felt like the boy wasn't really responsible. Have you ever talked to somebody and y'all in a relationship and y'all talking, but you notice that you picking up most of the slack, and then it's kind of you almost taking care of a person?
Mm-hmm.
That's how I felt. It was starting to be okay, I'm taking care of myself, but now it's getting harder for me to take care of myself because I'm taking care of somebody else. And it wasn't the same way around. So basically, when this situation happened, I did tell him, okay, since this is going on, you can stay with me at least 3, times out the week, but not every day.
Mm-hmm.
Be at your friend's house, and sometimes you can come over here.
Mm-hmm.
So he was kind of cool with it, but he was still standoffish. But what can I do? You're not paying bills, you're not replacing anything that you're eating, you're not doing anything for me, basically. But I did like him, so I was willing to, work with him and wait till he got into a better situation so he could help himself. And of course, it would have worked out, but it just never happened. He was the type of person who would always go to work,
Mm-hmm.
but he was really, he was really content in the things that he did, and it wasn't making him enough money, and he was missing interviews. His friend was giving him interviews, he was missing them. So it's you don't really care, you just kind of floating.
No ambition?
Yeah. And then he was just well, at the end, he towards the end, which I didn't know was the end, he told me, he was well, I'm not coming to California, I'm not trying to be no artist or, no, basically he was just I'm not here a starving artist trying to come to LA to be seen, basically. And I'm okay, but you are here, so while you're here, you need to get a better job if, the job that you have isn't providing the lifestyle that you want while you're out here. So basically it got to this to where it was a Thursday, and he was at my house, and he was well, my auntie, she's building a house and it's almost done, so I don't have to be here. They just told me to wait until it was done. I can go back, and I don't have to pay any bills there, and I have my own room, and it just wouldn't be this hard. I don't have to live where I live or be in the type of position I am in if I'm back at home because I'm taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
So he was I'm just trying to decide if I'm going to go back or not. This was a Thursday. Girl,
okay.
He left Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And went back home. So even though he left abruptly, I'm still just whatever. Maybe that's something he really had to do if he felt he couldn't take care of himself out here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm okay, cool. So he goes back home and we talk. He's happy. He's sending me pictures oh, I got this big room. I got this TV in my room. I got my own bathroom here. They feeding me good. And I'm this is a grown man. He's literally, I'm 28. And he's 2 or 3 years older than me, so this is a grown man we talking about. He's happy that he goes back home and doesn't pay bills.
He was 3 years older than you?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was 3 years older than me. So then, so he went home and he was sending me all these pictures, and he yeah, they keep feeding me, because his thing was, at my house, I was cooking for us too, but he wouldn't get as much food as he wanted to. But he wasn't buying any food, so you get what I cook. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna.
If I can't be choosers.
Right, like if I'm used to like having a pack of meat or something, and I'm using it for 2 portions, you know, when he come around, I'm still gonna use a little more, but I'm not gonna use up my whole pack of meat. You know what I mean? Basically like that. So he wasn't getting the portion that he wanted as a man, I guess.
Okay.
So when he got home, he was sending me like pictures of plates, like, yeah, they feeding me. I'm eating too much. They feeding me, you know, whatever. So I'm like, okay, we still was cool. We were talking, and basically before he left, we was talking about, you know, we would still be together. He was just out there to make money and come back. So we decided that we were going to travel to each other's places, you know, off and on to the time we basically came back together, which would be out here or out there.
Okay.
So we were talking, and then it became a few months later, and I'm like, okay, it's time for me to, either one of us to come visit. And since he just left here, I'm like, okay, I'll visit there. So we talked, and he was cool with it. He was like, yeah, I'm happy you coming. I'm excited. I can't wait to see you. So it was kind of like he was working it up, you know? So basically when I got to Houston, I took the days off. I bought my own ticket, round trip, and I paid for my own hotel. So he didn't pay for anything. I'm never doing that again. Never doing that again. So basically I get down there, I get to the airport, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna call him when I get to the hotel and settle. So I get in, I settle in, and then I text him like, hey, I'm here, this is the hotel I'm at. Actually, I called him, he didn't answer. So I text him, and then he hit me up like, oh, I'm in the hospital, I messed up my ankle, and I'm here like for basically to see what's going on and make sure I didn't break it again. And afterwards, I'll come by the place, and you know, we can hang out. I'll bring some drinks. You know, it's supposed to be like an exciting thing.
So he was in the hospital.
He sent me pictures of his ankle, like in this band at the emergency room. Like I'm in the emergency room or whatever, basically. So I'm like, okay, I'm believing him. I'm like, okay, cool. Like when he leaves here, he gonna let me know what's up. He gonna come, or he's gonna tell me where he is so I can get there. So hours pass. It's like 3 hours later. I'm like, okay, I know he's in the emergency room, and I know it takes forever in LA. But let me just see what's going on. So then I text him like, hey, are you coming? If not, let me know, whatever. And then he just hit me with this, he never answered, he just hit me with this long text message like, if my leg wasn't messed up, I would be there with you every day, but it is, so I can't. So I'm just like, wow. And after that, I literally like never like text him. He knew I was gonna be there for 4 days and like 3 nights, but I never texted him after that day. He never called and told me where he was. He never called and texted me after that day. So it's like 4 days later this time. But basically while I was there, I met this guy in like the hotel, and we ended up like going to get some lunch, and then we went to the mall, and then like I came back and I just like chilled in my hotel room, sad, crying, watching TV for like 4 days straight, wishing like this is the longest trip in Houston. This is the longest trip I've ever taken. Like I want to go home. I've never been so homesick in my life. So basically,
because you were alone.
Right. And I thought it was going to be like an amazing trip. Just imagine like on your way, I'm like, yeah, me and my boo, I'm super happy. I haven't seen him in a while. I can't wait to cuddle with him. And like all this stuff. So then basically when I'm leaving, I'm like, okay, I'm going to block this guy, and I'm never going to talk to him again. So when I ended up leaving, I blocked him. But you know, if you have an iPhone or something, like, or any phone, I don't know, but when you block the person, they're still, you know, they're still allowed to leave you a voicemail, or they can call you from a different number, you know. He never called me after that trip. He never texted me. He left a voicemail, a blocked voicemail on my voicemail, which was in September. I left Houston in April, so months later he hit me up and left a voicemail, and his voicemail was like, oh, it's an emergency, please call me back, whatever. So when I called him back, just because I was like, you know, maybe this is, I don't know why I called him back, because it's like, what emergency could it be that I can take care of in LA that your people couldn't take care of in Houston? So I called back being an idiot, and he was just like, oh, well, I really miss you, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I was in Houston for 4 days, like, where were you? You never called me or text me. And like, this guy, still today, like, he'll call me, he'll like try to like get in my DM. He adds me on all social networks, and it's like, I don't get it. Like, but when I get other people's opinion, they're like, oh, he had another girl. Like, basically that's what they say. Like, he had another girl out there, or he was done with you. But I don't get it. He never explained why. And then he turned it around and said that he thought that I was out in Houston with someone else or something like that.
That you came to Houston with someone else.
Yeah.
Why would you hit him up?
Exactly.
If you came to Houston with someone else.
Why would I say come to my hotel room?
Exactly.
So I just feel like he was just like making up stuff. And he was just like super wrong. And like I've never been done so wrong in my life, but I know from that experience, like I'll never travel like on my own dime, because I know someone else pays for it. Most likely they're gonna like see you, so I'm never gonna travel on my own coin. And like he had the nerve to tell me he was coming out here and like, oh, do you mind if I stay with you? And I was gonna be like super mean, so like I was literally gonna have this boy come out here and like stand him up, but it's like now I'm in a relationship and stuff, and it's like I don't even like care about it, so I just kind of like laugh at it now. But I just like can't believe, and it just goes back to the saying like they always come back. But it's like with this guy, do you possibly really think that you could come back after something so negative or after something so crazy? Like what would you do? How would you feel about that?
There's so many red flags. So
let me know the red flags, girl, so I can know. But
okay, so in the beginning, number one, before you even left, just the type of person that he is, that's someone that you don't want to be with. Because if you a grown man, 31 years old, right? You should not be excited to have your own room. What is that?
Exactly.
I got my own room. You're not like a little kid who's like moving out a room with a sibling and you happy to have your own room. At 31 years old, you should be happy to have your own apartment, your own house. You should not be looking forward to a room. That's number one. So right there.
And he still lives there.
Totally different paths. Like what he values and what you value are two different things. And from what you say, it doesn't look like he values much.
Right.
The fact that, okay, so you're out here, you might not want to be an artist, you might not want to be an entertainer, because that's what most people out here do. That's not your goals, that's fine, but then what is your goal?
Right.
Your goal shouldn't to be to live off of someone else. And you're not a little kid anymore. You're not 19, 20, 21. You're 30 something. When are you going to get it together?
Exactly.
Like, oh, so you're not taking care of him, so now he's going to go to his auntie or whoever who is.
Who like, didn't, and, sorry, but the crazy part is he rants and he raves about, oh, like my auntie this, my auntie that, like she does this for me, she does this for me. And while he was out here, she did the most, I feel. She did a lot for him and his mom. But he didn't even call her on her birthday and tell her happy birthday. So it's just like, you are basically like, when he did that, I was like, you're kind of like you're a user. Like you basically like get what you can get. And the house that he was living in was in Beverly Hills, and everybody that lives out here knows that Beverly Hills for the most part is a really nice area. And he lived in a really nice area, like right by the Beverly Center. And he was complaining about rent that wasn't even as high as the rent that I had, which was nowhere near the area that he was in. So it's like, if I had a place like that and I was paying that much, I would be cool with it. But for somebody, he's like, oh, well, how much I pay, I can have a 1-bedroom house in Texas and stuff like that. But it's like, you're in Texas and you still don't have those things. You still living off somebody, even though the cost of living is way cheaper, you know? So as you say, yeah, it just shows what type of character that he has. And, you know, like, now that I'm older, I get it. It's just like, he's not on the same path. He's never going to be on the same path. He's never going to be there.
He's not on your level.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he's immature, but not even immature that you play too much or you act like a kid. He doesn't have any goals. He doesn't want anything. Don't you want to be better? You know, if it's okay to help somebody out if you see that they're working hard and they're putting in the work and they're trying to do something. Like if you're trying to better yourself and you just need a little help right now, that's one thing. But if you don't want to do anything at all, that's a totally different story. Totally different story. So those are the signs you have to pay attention to. Those little things like that. You know?
Yeah, I agree.
What are you doing?
Yeah, and then one of the things that I didn't pay attention to that I should have is like he had a kid. He has a kid that apparently like something happened between him and the baby mother. And she doesn't want him to see the kid for the most part. But he even told me like one time, like, okay, like he's ready to give up on that, and he's like cool with it. He's cool with giving up on it because
not seeing his child.
Yeah,
like just letting it go.
Yeah, like because of the situation, he's just like, well, it's been happening for so long, and I'm beginning to be cool with it. Like I don't really care about it anymore.
See,
it's like you have a kid that you don't talk to on their birthday or Christmas or anything like that. I should have just kind of known from that, you know? Fathers who don't want to take care of their kids don't want a responsibility, basically. And that kind of went in with him having a place, and he didn't have a car either.
And you need a car out here.
In a lot of places you don't, but here it's definitely
You need a car.
You
You need a car. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And you need money for maintenance for that car too, because the
Yes.
streets are crazy.
Yes.
Like,
Something always happens.
No, but for real, it's always something. The streets are so horrible.
I have too many
out
stories.
here.
I have too many stories. Yeah, see. Yeah, that's not the type of person you want to be with. Not at all.
Guys just always do crazy stuff, and I feel like on the way out of a relationship, they tend to do the most craziest thing, but then they always come back later. Like when they leave the relationship, they'll do something drastic, like just something stupid, and then they'll end up coming back. Like don't do something drastic to get out of the relationship. Like a lot of times when you get out of a relationship with a guy, he cusses you out, and he's like, "I don't want you anyway," and blah 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 blah, and they say really hurtful things, and then later on they'll come back like, "You were the best girl I ever had," and blah blah blah. And it's like, when I was with you, you didn't act like that.
Absolutely.
Oh, you went out and the grass wasn't greener on the other side, so you ready to come back to this grass? No.
Absolutely. When you leave them alone, that's when they want you.
That happened all the time to me. I think in
All the
every
time.
single relationship I've ever been in,
Everything.
every single one, they always come back. And I don't want anybody back.
When you leave them alone, it's when they want to see you again. They want to know how you doing. But when you was right there, when you was right there in Texas, they have no time for you. But now when you miles away, oh, so how you doing? Where you been?
Come back to Texas.
Nope. Nope. Nope.
Come back to Texas.
Nope.
Like, no.
Okay, and then the thing about the hospital. So supposedly he hurt his ankle. You're in the hospital, right? Okay, so you don't have anybody to drive you around. Where's this miraculous aunt that's taking care of you?
No.
She could give you a ride so he could come visit you, or he could send a car to come pick you up, and then you could go to where he is.
My thing was that too.
The fact that he doesn't talk to you, doesn't see how you're doing, doesn't ask you, so what you gonna do? But he could have paid for your ticket to go back home. If he can't see you, well, at least let me send you back home.
You're in a state that you know zero people. I knew not one person in Houston. Like I couldn't be like, oh, I have at least one family member I can call a friend. I knew zero people. The only person I knew in Houston was that guy I met when checking into the hotel. Like I didn't meet anybody while I didn't know, I didn't know anybody. So for the fact that he did that, and I always was just like, in my mind, like even if something was really wrong with him, and even if he, through all that, he didn't have transportation to get to me, whatever, he could have simply told me where he was, and I could have came to him. Even if he didn't pay for the trip for me to get there, he could have at least said, I can't come. I'm trying to find people to come get you, but this is my address. If you could find a way here, this is where I am, and I do want to see you, or whatever, He just, after that day, he never texted me again and say, okay, I can come today, or maybe I can come tomorrow before you leave, or let me see you before I leave. He didn't even hit me up. Like, he knew the day I was leaving. He didn't even hit me up that day, like, can I at least see you before I leave? You leave? Like, nothing. I got no call, no text until months later. And then I was just like, at this point, he still like, it was both of our fault. And I'm just like, no, like, whatever, you should have did that before I went to Texas. Whatever animosity you had for me not letting you stay with me, if that was the situation, why couldn't you have done that and said that instead of being fake and acting like everything was cool? I hate that.
Right.
So, yeah.
So let me ask you, well, how come you stayed? Why you just didn't leave right away?
What do you mean?
Like, after you got there and he said, did he say he can't come? He told you right away that he couldn't come?
Yeah.
So why you didn't like get another plane ticket?
You know what? And a lot of people ask me that, like, why didn't you just leave? But in my mind, the whole time I was there for those 4 days, I was thinking, like, I wonder if I can get a ticket to go back home, like, right now. But this was, like, literally my second time or third time flying. So, like, I didn't have enough experience. I feel like I didn't have enough experience to know, like, okay, I can get a ticket to get back. So I was just like, they're not gonna have a ticket for me or whatever. So I just ended up staying in the hotel room for 4 days and then taking my regular ticket back. But now being older, like I know that, and I would have immediately, like that same day, I would have just went to I would have called her. I would have went back to the airport and tried to get a different ticket.
Yeah.
Because now I've done that. Like I've changed a trip before, so I get it. But like that just shows you how inexperienced I was with the whole situation. Like I didn't know. That, and I didn't know that I would be out there by myself. Like I literally didn't plan that in my head because I thought that I would be with someone. And if I had any issues, he's from Houston, so he could help me out.
Right.
Yeah. So that's basically what that was.
Okay. Let me ask another question. Because guys, when stuff like this happen, guys always act like the girl is crazy, right? So did he invite you? Did he say, "Hey, come to Texas"? Or so he told you to come, and he told you what dates to come. He said, "Come around this time."
No, he didn't tell me come around this time. What happened was we planned a month for me to come. When I found out the month, I gave him the days that I had taken off from work. I told him the days that I was coming, and I sent him the tickets. At that point, this was way before. This was like a week before I even came, because I bought my tickets a week before or more. And he was like, "Oh, cool! Like, I'm excited. I cannot wait for you to come. I miss you so much. I can't wait to see you." It was one of those type of things. It wasn't like, I sent him the ticket, and he was like, "Oh, so really coming?" No, he knew he was excited. He made it seem like everything was going to be perfect. And then the day of, he was like, "Oh, well, this day I messed up my leg." So I was just like, okay, even if he messed up his leg, he said he messed it up the day before I was coming. So I was like, even if it was that type of situation, why couldn't you have told me the day before I came and was like, "Don't come"?
So what was the plan? You was gonna come and stay at the hotel, and he was gonna come visit you at the hotel.
Yeah, he was gonna stay with me at the hotel for
those days
time.
that you were there. That was the whole plan.
Yeah,
or whatever.
And we were supposed to hang out. He was supposed to show me around Texas. Then we were gonna go to his auntie's house, hang out there with the family, and just stuff like that.
So was he ever gonna meet you at the airport and y'all go to the hotel together, or he was just gonna meet you at the hotel? He was like, "When you get to the hotel, let me know, and I'll come to the hotel."
No, we didn't talk about him meeting me at the airport. We talked about him meeting me once I got there to the hotel, because I talked to him before I was leaving, and I was telling him I'm gonna hit you up when I get to the hotel. And he's like, "Okay, cool." So that's how it was supposed to be. But even now I'm thinking about it, he should have been like, why couldn't he meet me at the hotel, or why couldn't he meet me at the airport? But I did ask him, because when I was getting, I was like, "How far is your house from the airport?" He was like, "Oh, it's only 15 to 30 minutes or something like that." He was like, "So it's not a problem for me to get there." He did say that, but it was just a whole different story. Actually, it wasn't even a story, because he never gave any explanation as to why he didn't hit me up for those 4 days that I was there. He never said he was angry about me. He was angry at me before I came, till this day. He never said that he had an issue with me or anything. It was never any explanation. It was just my leg was broken. That's the only reason why I didn't see you. I never had another girl. He
sprained his ankle. That's what he said.
He broke it before. So he messed it up again, and I think he said I don't know if he broke it or he fractured it this time.
Lies.
Exactly.
He's lying. Because if you have somebody coming to see you and you get hurt right before they're supposed to see you, you will let them know, "Oh my God, you can't believe what just happened to me. I hurt my leg again. I hurt my ankle. I'm in the hospital." But I think that was just his excuse. He could have had those pictures from the first time. You say he hurt his
That's what I was thinking too.
Those pictures could be old.
Exactly.
So it's lies. It's all lies. Don't trust him. Don't believe him.
Yeah.
Maybe even if he did have another girl, right? He couldn't get away from her to come see you. Not saying that that's the right thing to do, but the fact that he just totally said, "Okay, I can't come. I hurt my ankle," and never spoke to you again.
Right.
No, that's just, I can't believe he had the audacity to do that.
He did.
That's just,
girl, he don't have no shame. He still don't care. He doesn't even think he did anything wrong. His thing is and he's very selfish. So he's like, "Oh, my leg was really messed up, so
that's it."
Yeah.
Crazy.
So basically, ladies, this is just a little bit of a wake up. It's just letting you know my story and something that happened to me, and maybe to help another girl or another person that's maybe thinking about going on a trip and they see these red signs, these red flags. Don't do it. Make sure everything is secure, and make sure you don't pay for it yourself, basically, if it's a guy. Right?
Absolutely. I just can't believe that. That's why I was asking. That's why I was playing devil's advocate. So did he invite you? Did he tell you to come? Yeah. Because if he wants you to come, he'll pay for your ticket. He'll meet you at the airport. Yeah.
So if there were red flags there.
Another thing too, most people, depending on if they live with their family, most people are like, "Well, come stay with me. You could come stay at the house."
That's the crazy part, because when he first moved, he was like, "Yeah, you could come stay with me and my auntie or whatever." It's nobody new there. It's a huge house. But then when I was not even before, this was way before I even brought my tickets or even we picked the month, he was like, I saw, he didn't say, but I started to see that he was kind of like scared to ask his auntie. And like the type of person I am, I don't have time for somebody to be like, oh, let me just ask, or making somebody or inconveniencing somebody. So I'm just like, let me just get my own stuff, you know. I don't have time to be like, oh, let me make sure. Or if his auntie is like the type of person that's welcoming and stuff like that. So he did suggest that, but then I kind of felt him kind of backing out of that a little bit because he was scared to ask his auntie. So I would be like, did you ask her yet? And he'd be like, no, I'm gonna ask her, you know, later or something like that.
See, that's another sign too.
Yeah,
that's another sign.
But I feel like I was blinded because it was a lot of signs. Like even the fact that he was not responsible, he didn't have a car, and most of the time, most of the baggage was on me. You know, all that stuff was red flags. I feel, but I just felt like I liked him so much, and the fact that we were both cancers, we connected, so we got along really, really, really good. Like even today, he's like the best guy I've ever got along with. Like we got along really, really good. So I think it was that. And me just having the whole mind frame of, you know, this is the guy that I'm supposed to be with because we get along so good and all this stuff like that. But we could have only been getting along good because I was picking up most of the slack and he was cool with it, you know? So whatever.
And see, that's another thing. Most guys don't like for a woman to take care of them because even if you say it's okay, they feel like somehow you're taking away their manhood. Because like even like there's a lot of guys who don't like when a girl picks them up. Like, you know, like, I can't have some woman driving me around. So the fact that he has, like, he was okay with you doing everything, that's an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you live and you learn.
Exactly.
There's a lesson in everything.
Yeah, but hopefully no one else goes through something like that, or if they do, it'll be a little bit more comforting to know that someone else actually went through it with them, or went through it before, too. So just keep your head up, and thank you guys for watching another episode of Hashtag. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, and thanks, Zell, for coming through, for sure. Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much.
Thank you for having me. It was fun.
Bye, guys. See you next time.
Bye.